I'm Daniel, the past life regressionist, and it's time to begin.
Lift off and the clock has started.
This is Timeless Spirituality. Enjoy Eternity Time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Timeless Spirituality. It is time for another brand new episode, and this is a fun one. Yeah, that's all I got for this week. I hope you guys enjoy it. I have some really cool interviews coming up in the next couple weeks, and I'll be getting those out to you guys in June and July, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So, with all that said, another thing, go check me out on TikTok now at the Past Life Regressionist. I'm going to start building up the TikTok as well, so I'm going to have to add that to the end. But for now, with that said, if you would like to book a regression with me to discover who and where you have been throughout time, you can reach me on Instagram with the Past Life Regressionist, or you can book through my website, thepastliferegressionist.com. And now, it's time to begin. Laura, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm excited to have you on. It's been about a year since I was on your podcast, so it's cool to now get to have you on mine.
I'm excited. I feel like I don't have to do any work. Like, what are you gonna ask me? What are we gonna talk about?
I mean, I may ask you about the secrets of life, like what's the meaning of it? Where are we going?
Yeah.
Although you may have a unique perspective into that last question, which I'm excited to get into. But I guess the first question I want to ask you is, who is Laura?
Well, you know what? I was thinking about that a lot today, actually, this morning, because you know how you write your Instagram profile, your bio? Mm-hmm. You're writing in your bio, who is Laura? Who is Laura Scarpati? And I keep changing it. I used to have filmmaker, producer, podcaster. That was kind of my bio for many years. I always had the little slogan, magic happens, even before I got into the woo. I was very into Harry Potter and just magic in general. I thought it was really fun. But I have added some things to that bio recently. I have added woo-woo activator, woo-woo enthusiast, and NDE survivor. And I'm now identifying as that. I feel like I didn't do that for a long time, but now it feels like the first thing I want to talk about.
Oh, we're going to get there. I'm excited to ask you about that. Before I ask you the next question, do you want to talk a little bit about your podcast?
Sure. The Woo Report explores all of the unseen energies in the universe and explores beyond the veil, beyond the 3D. And I'm so passionate about it because I had this near-death experience, but ultimately I think the more woo-woo in my life, the more my life has gotten better. And I want people to be able to have a place to go where they cannot feel crazy for thinking there's something else going on outside of our 3D bodies. And so that's what the pod's about.
Cool. I like it. So it's a little early for me on the West Coast. I don't really start kicking into high gear until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Somehow I function otherwise, but it is what it is. But time's supposed to be an illusion, but it still kind of affects me. That's neither here nor there right now. Are you ready for the next question?
Let's go.
What do you believe in?
My belief system?
Sure. I want to give you the free rein with that. What do you believe in?
I believe we are all souls that are in an earth school. And I believe that our home is actually beyond the veil. And that's where we came from. That's where we're going to go back to before we decide to come back and do it again, which is what you help people do. To figure out where they've been maybe in the past and maybe where they're going in the future. But yeah, I think that we're all souls. And Earth School is supposed to teach us how to remember who we are, which is really made of love. We're all made of love. And it's hard to remember that sometimes when you're caught up in your day to day. So that's what I believe.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah,
But that's the fun thing about that question. It's not a fact. It's whatever you want it to be.
it is. And also perception is reality, right?
I mean, we can do a whole series on that one. That's a whole other story. Maybe.
Is it though? Or is it all the same thing?
I think there are so many different layers to that statement because where we are right now, as we're recording this in 2026, I think that we have a way of perceiving the universe around us. Some people different than others, the way that they perceive things. But I also think we're limited by the scope of what we can understand right now. Because, a lot of people will describe the universe as a simulation or that it's like a virtual reality. But if you go back 100 years or 200 years, people couldn't really have the terminology for that at the time because the technology just wasn't there. So they're limited by what was in their purview. So what more will we learn along the way, just say in the next 100 years, that will help us expand the way that we perceive things when the perception just is evolving with us, but it may have been there all along?
Yeah, I mean, arguably it's been there all along. So I feel like people like Einstein and everyone that believed in energy before they could, Wi-Fi, for example. I don't understand Wi-Fi, but we're using it right now. I can't see it, but we're using it. And
well, actually, I'm not using Wi-Fi right now. I'm plugged in. I have an Ethernet cable in, so there goes that.
So you are probably blurry because it's mine.
I'm blurry right now?
In. Yeah, it's fine. I feel like that happens.
I shouldn't be. But yeah, the way this program runs, it's okay because it's recording on your end, recording on my end. So
exactly.
Brings it together.
Yeah.
Perception, huh? See, yeah. I'm blurry on your end. You look fine to me. On my screen, I look fine. I mean, we could go in a bunch of different ways. Then also with the perception of reality, go back a couple years to this thing that happened that we all kind of went through. And do I think everything was as it was presented? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe there's more to it. But there were a lot of people who, and by the way, everyone read between the lines right now. A lot of people who said, it's not real. It's a hoax.
What was it about COVID?
I was going to leave it ambiguous just so anyone could make it. But yes, that's what I was talking about.
I was like, I need to make sure I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, what other hoax is there?
Right, because to me, it's the perception component becomes your reality is shaped by the way you see things. So it's like if you don't believe in something, then it can't be, or it isn't real. But with that example, there were a lot of people who didn't believe in COVID. They're just like, it's not real. It's all a lie, what everyone's putting out. No one's getting sick, blah, 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 blah. And then a lot of those people ended up dying. Now, maybe not all of them died from COVID, but, it's just like, just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean that it's not part of your reality. And sorry, now you kind of got me on one tangent. I was like, blah, blah, blah. One other thing I'll say there. For the longest time, I thought, what if atheism or the belief in there being no God and people who believe in God, what if both can be true at the same time? What if those who don't believe in God, the universe is shaping to their reality and their perception of things, and there is no God, and everything is just seemingly random, and everyone's having their own individual experience while we're experiencing something collectively. But then those who believe in God, their world is being shaped by it. But then COVID happened. So, yeah. I mean, do you want to just throw anything out there before we go on to the next question?
My brain is starting to become mush, so it's okay. We can move on.
I'm surprisingly spry for this time of day.
That was pretty good.
So you had a near-death experience a few years ago. Is that what kind of brought you around to the wheel?
It did. I grew up believing in God and going to church, and I really loved my religion growing up. I really loved believing in something bigger than myself, and I felt like in the Methodist religion, you are taught that you have your own relationship with your higher power. There isn't confession. It's less strict than Catholicism. And I always loved that. And I always prayed. And then in LA, I found myself in this hustle culture where I was kind of became disconnected from that part of my belief system. And I was around some friends that were atheists, and it sounded smart. Honestly, it sounded smart. I was like, oh, you're right. Like, we can't prove any of this. Shoot. Like maybe I'm rethinking all the things that I grew up believing in. And then I got run over by a car and I was 18 weeks pregnant and my consciousness flew out of my body. And I saw myself laying on the ground. I went back in my body and the most insane feeling came over me, which was, I am okay. I can surrender and this is all okay. I'm going to die and this is fine. I'm not in charge here. Completely stoic, not freaking out when I should have been, probably, because I did have a shattered hip socket and a fractured pelvis in 5 places and a broken rib and a broken arm. And I was pregnant and all the things that you should be freaking out about, but I wasn't. And maybe some people would say that's adrenaline or you're in shock, your body's in shock. But when I think back to that moment, it feels so vivid and it feels so freeing. And I don't think I can even say another moment in my life where I felt that free, except for maybe now post-accident times in meditation that I felt like I've reached some sort of heightened sense of my own consciousness that is separated from my body. But this was the first time in a while ever, I think, that I really realized we're more than our bodies. And it took me a while to process that after. I was in the hospital for a long time. And I remember someone I worked with saying, oh, you should go to this intuitive. Like, she's really good. You should talk to her. And so I had a call with her. And I think I'm a huge skeptic at this point. My dad's a hypnotherapist. I've been rolling my eyes at him my whole life. And I got on the phone with her and explained to her what happened. And she said, yeah, the universe is trying to tell you something. We got to figure out what it is. And I thought, oh, shoot, like the universe is trying to tell me something. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, what do you mean the universe is talking to me? Like, it was just all a little bit too much. And I was still in a wheelchair at the time. And I was just like, this is too much. So I did not end up doing a session with her. I decided that I needed to focus on my physical body, focus on my pregnancy, and kind of get through that before I kind of went existential. But during this time, I had a lot of friends sending me things. Like, I remember asking my best friend, Sarah, like, do you think that this was meant to be, that like the universe is trying to tell me something, that like, what do you think about that? And she said, I don't think it was written in the stars. She said the words written in the stars. And when she said those words, the words written in the stars, I was like, that was like a soul whisper to me. I was like, no, that it was written in the stars. Like, why does it feel like that? I couldn't tell. Then I had another friend send me like an Enneagram test, and just like really, I was laid up. I was laying in bed and I had no other distractions. I would like watch Gossip Girl and think about myself and think about my life. And it forced me to stop and slow down and look at myself for the first time in a long time. And I think that, when you really start to look at yourself and sit with yourself, it's a lot, number one. Number two, the journey to self-discovery can then also be really exciting, and it became fun. And then I had my sister-in-law sit on my couch and say, I think we're all souls. And I was like, yes. No one had ever said that to me before. And all of a sudden it just like rang true in my heart in a way that I couldn't explain. And then after she said that to me is when, this was 1 year after the accident, I booked that session with the intuitive finally. And she just kind of clicked some things into place for me that I've been curious about, wondering. I'd had another friend have this experience with a medium where our high school friend who had died, a couple years prior had come through to her, and, crazy things, crazy things that this woman could never have known. He had said magpie, like, tell my wife that I'm with magpie. And my friend Becky was like, who's magpie? And reaches out to Tony's wife and says, what's magpie? And his wife said, that was the name we were going to name our unborn daughter. Like if we had a girl, we were going to name her Magpie. And I just started bawling my eyes out in my kitchen. I'll never forget it. And then when I told my friend Sarah about it too, we ended up going to a medium in LA, and the medium in LA said, there's a male friend here, Tony. That's my friend. And he says, he's the reason why you're here. She like called out his name, and he was the reason why we were there, because he had come through to our other friend. And it was just all of these synchronicities, signs started coming through, and it became so fun and cool. Like, what if we're not alone here? What if we can communicate with people that are on the other side of the veil? What if this isn't the end? What if dying isn't the end? What if it's just the beginning of a new journey? And it just became so fun that I started a podcast about it.
I mean, that's the natural progression of these things, right?
Especially in 2026, where there's like 5 million podcasts out there.
So what do you think the shadow side of all that is, though? Well, let me kind of just expand upon that a little bit, because, you use the word fun, and I understand how all that can be fun, because it's like this journey of discovery. It's like seeing the world through new eyes. Like I remember for me personally, when I walked out of my first past life regression that I had for myself, I was looking at sand in a way that I never had before. Sand looked different to me. It was that level of just everything. It's different. And it was fun. Well, I mean, what do you feel the shadow side of all that is, though?
Do you mean after the accident?
I mean, the shadow side of the discovery.
I mean, you can look at it like there's a shadow side. I feel like shadow work, I was just talking about shadow work, but discovering the places inside yourself that you'd like to make better. You'd like to heal. You'd like to, I feel like fix is maybe a strong word, and heal's sometimes overused, but more on the side of healing than fixing. But it's more so, honestly, just giving yourself so much grace. So I think, I mean, if the dark side could be digging back in to yourself and looking at all the times that maybe you treated someone poorly, you treated yourself poorly, you wish you would have done something different. I could look at my career in Hollywood and look at how I treated people sometimes, and I could have definitely done better. And it's all of it. And I feel like when I was with you, we talked about a time when I was in grade school and I like told on these guys for cheating on a test. And I was like a tattletale. And I had that like weighing on me so hard for so long. And it's like, girl, it's okay. You didn't know. You were doing the best you could. And it's not a big deal. We can move on. And I think it's like you can revisit all those shadows, but then giving yourself the grace to say, it's okay. And let's move on. Let's move on and be better. And I don't know, like when we ask about something shadowy, I never want to be in the victim mindset, which I feel like I recognize a lot now so much, because I used to do it all the time. I used to do it when I was working at Ellen. I would say like, oh, this person did X, Y, and Z. They did not do their job correctly. And I was always like, this person did this person did this. I was always kind of coming after someone else for not doing their job in a way that I thought was the way that it should be done. And I just realized I was just being extra judgy. Like I didn't have to be that judgy. I could just say, maybe try it this way. So I'm going on a tangent here, but
that's okay.
I feel like I see it a lot with my kids too, especially my 8-year-old who's coming home. He's just constantly in the victim mindset. And it's so easy to recognize now when you do this work and you are looking at how you see every moment and how you can shift it from victim mentality into taking back your power. And I feel like we always talk about how do you take back your power? It's almost like a very overused phrase that people don't really maybe know what that means, but you take your power back when you don't let other people upset you, when you choose to have your own peace. And teaching that to an 8-year-old is extremely hard. I don't know. It's really difficult, but I see it in him a lot. And I think often my work now is trying to figure out how to use what I've learned after this near-death experience, in this spiritual journey. How can I teach my kids to regulate themselves and to take their own power back when innately they want to like be like, that kid did this and he did that. And, you know, a lot of blame and shame. And I'm realizing I need to like stop doing that in my own home first. So a lot of lessons, and the lessons are starting with me, but they're definitely affecting everyone in my orbit. Starting with this near-death experience that really cracked us all open.
So I look at that experience as a case study in free will, because I believe in fate and free will. I believe that both can be true at the same time. I don't believe it has to be one or the other. You know, when you talked about written in the stars, I don't know what your transit chart looked like at that time, but do I believe that an event like that was written in the stars? Probably. I do believe that that may have been a fated event, but the free will came into play, what you decided to do with that. You know, did you decide to go down the path of looking into more of the neurological aspect and how your mind may have played tricks with you in that moment and had you see yourself leaving your body and then looking down at yourself and come back and be like, kumbaya, whatever, you know, it's just a normal reaction of a body firing off neurons? Or am I going to go on this path of self-discovery? And what would those paths look like? And what would the offshoots be? What would the fractures be at play with every decision that you made? That's where I think the free will comes into play, is the fated event being the catalyst. And then how do I play this? What do I do? What decisions do I make? And I think it's so cool to also hear you talk about how what it ultimately also led you to do was to become a better person by looking at the actions of the past and seeing, how can I lead a more productive future? And not only that, how can I teach my children to not be little assholes?
Totally.
Which in turn, I think has ripple effects down the line. And then your children will raise their children in a different way than how it may have potentially been, how you've gone down the path of like, oh no, it was just my brain playing tricks on me when that happened. You can still be a little asshole. Just go out there and blame everything on everyone else. You could have.
Well, I mean, here's what I'll say is that it's easier said than done. Like, it's definitely not done over here. We are actively working on it. And I think that that's the other thing about growth is that I'm still actively working on myself. I don't think I'm just like, I think I'm better than I was maybe 5 years ago, and maybe I'm better than I was yesterday. But I do think sometimes with growth, it feels like one step forward, two steps back. And that's like a healing journey too. I remember feeling like that on the physical side, after I'd had this road rash on my back and I had all these wounds that were bleeding and they were a whole thing. And my husband had to tend to them, and he was tending to them. And that we finally got to a place where they had stopped bleeding. And we were like, they're done bleeding. I'm not bleeding out anymore on my back. Like, we're good. And then I remember like taking a shower one day and like all the blood just like came rushing back, and just being so defeated that we were like back in this place. Like they're wide open again. The wounds are wide open again. And I think that's what happens when you are doing spiritual healing too. Like I can feel like elated and in a wonderful meditation one day where I'm like, I got this. I'm getting all these downloads. I'm in a creative flow. And then the next second, my son here we go. I'm like triggering, but I'm triggered by something that one of my kids do. And I'm like flying off the handle. And there we are again, like a couple steps back. Have you ever studied Kabbalah?
Not per se, a little bit of the Jewish mysticism, but I've never like actually sat down in a Kabbalah class. Funny coming from the Jew, and then it's, the Protestant who's like, you study Kabbalah?
I'm like into all of it. Like I love the Jewish religion too. I think it's so beautiful. Like Barak atah Adonai, Oheinu melech haolam. I feel like I went to a lot of bat and bar mitzvahs, and
spoken by a true shiksa. Barak atah Adonai.
Was that bad? Was it bad? Was it not good?
You're missing the Baruch.
I wasn't classically trained.
It's okay. I forgive you. You're good. Let me speak on behalf of all Jews right now. You're still one of us, and in the
I appreciate
the challah. We like our bread.
Oh my gosh. Well, I really love Kabbalah. I feel like it's helped me a lot to kind of situate what lens I have on myself and my parenting. and my triggers, really, which in Kabbalah, they're called your tikkun, or your life's correction, your soul's correction. And I love how it was explained to me that basically our souls are like buckets. We come here, they're buckets, but they're full of holes. So energy kind of goes through them, and those holes are our tikkuns, our corrections, and it's our job in this life to figure out what those corrections are and mend them so that we can expand, so that we can actually hold more light of the creator. And I just love that because it makes every trigger that you have an opportunity for growth instead of making it gives you back your power, as we've been talking about, because you're just like, the triggers, I could take one trigger and I could talk to you about it for an hour if I want to and be like, this sucked because he was so annoying and XYZ happened and it made me so annoyed, whatever. Or I can pause and say, wow, what a gift. What an opportunity this is to learn something about how I'm going to react right now, how this exact moment, he's not listening to me. What does that mean? Does that mean that I have a fear of not being heard? Like, what does that mean about me? Why is it triggering me so much that he's not listening to me? So I love it. And that's the opportunity of like a podcast gives you, is to talk to people who are experts in these spaces that can help you. Even you can be all into the woo, you can be all into spirituality, you can be all into past life regressions, and you still don't know about like this cool lens that you can put on a trigger of yours that you can learn from someone who's like super into Kabbalah. But anyway, I'm super into it.
Let's talk more about tikkun a bit.
Yeah.
Just what does it mean to you in 2026?
I mean, I think the year is probably irrelevant because I think when we're talking about a soul's correction, it does not include time and space is irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's more so like, what are we meant to learn here in this lifetime? And there's a lot. I got a lot to learn. One of them is definitely probably a fear of not being heard because my kids don't listen to me. And so that is definitely a trigger that I'm repeating myself over and over again. But I think it's also hard in those moments to pause and say, what a gift. Like, I love the idea of it, but when you are faced with it in the moment, it is challenging. And I definitely don't get it right every time. But what I love about it is like, it's an opportunity. Like, you have it you have the tool, whether you use it or not, it's there and you can pull it if you need it. Sometimes the reaction happens so fast that I don't have time. I haven't yet practiced enough to pause before I respond, but it's been great to have the exercise in my back pocket because I've definitely used it more than once, and that's better than reacting like I used to. So, I think tikkuns will be different for everyone, and it probably depends on a lot of things. It probably depends on your conditioning as a kid. It probably depends on past life stuff. Probably depends on choices you've made and choices you're still making, like what you believe. Some people, there's a person in my life who I love so much who is just constantly talking to me about limited beliefs that they have.
Do they phrase it that way, or is it?
No.
Okay.
They just phrase it like, well, this isn't going to happen because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Every day, all day. And I'm like, limiting belief.
I got a couple of those.
And all I want is success for this person. All I want is success for them. And I know they are capable of it, but I also know that they are very disconnected from themselves and they haven't spent the time and energy to connect. And I find myself getting frustrated because I feel like I'm doing the work every day, but it's hard to start. It's hard to start.
Yeah, you only had to get hit by a car.
For sure.
That's all it took.
For sure. But like my frustration is that I don't want everyone to have to get hit by a car. Like, I had to get hit by a car to wake the F up to this. Truly. That's the whole point of the podcast. The point of the podcast is like, what can we do so we don't have to do that? Like, what can we do now to like know ourselves a little bit better? And really, it's so it's hard, but it's easy because you don't need anything. You just put your phone down and sit with yourself and commit to it. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just to kind of build off what you talked about. I'm probably going to hustle to get this episode out because I think it's a great follow-up to the one that I just released where it was talking about self-awareness. And I did bring up what it means to be Jewish and that if with some of the things going on in the world right now, if you're claiming to do something on behalf of something, know what you actually mean by that or what that thing actually means. Because I believe there's the expression tikkun olam, which builds off of, tikkun or tikkun. And it's, from my understanding, it's repairing the world. And I personally feel that everything that's wrong with our world right now is just a lack of self-awareness on a personal level. I think actions that are carried out are due to a lack of self-awareness. A lot of people say it's because of our differences. It's like, okay, but why? Where does that fall on the individual and their level of self-awareness or lack thereof? So that's what I think it all comes down to. It's because, you even talked about the bucket and plugging those holes. To me, that's self-awareness. You plug those holes when you become aware of those holes. That's how you plug it. And if you're not, then all that sand is just going to keep coming out, or all that water is just going to keep coming out because you haven't come to the awareness of the process of plugging those holes. So
that's so interesting. Yeah, I it makes me think of also in Kabbalah when they talk about anger, like an emotion that you feel energized, right? Like you're angry, you feel energized, but afterwards then you feel drained. They explain that when you have these big emotions, you'll feel the light, like you are still getting light by using that anger, but the light is just powering through your bucket, but it's just going through the holes. It's just emptying out because you have it's like basically your tikkun is just like allowing it to empty through the bucket. And so you feel that energy. It's like you feel energized. And so sometimes when you feel animated, in spirituality, a lot of times they'll teach when you feel animated to follow that animation, because that animation is like some sort of channel of energy. But anger is animation, but it's actually going through because it's one of your holes, it's one of your tikkuns. And I don't know what made me think about that, but I just think it's interesting because our emotions really, they are so contagious. They're like the most contagious thing. Have you heard of emotion code?
I have, but I don't know what it is.
Well, so I had never heard of it, and someone just told me about it on one of my podcasts and then like connected me with this woman, and I did it for the first time. And it's similar to your work where you're clearing kind of past life trauma by having someone visit that area, but she's clearing emotions that have been buried in your body and in your fields. And she does it by she does muscle testing. Have you ever done muscle testing?
Yeah.
Okay. So she does it this way with her fingers, and she's kind of like, she's going through this chart and it like looks like this. She's like kind of tapping her fingers in and out, and she gets permission to read your energy. And so she's doing it for you. And for the person that is receiving this type of healing, it is such a low lift. Like you don't have to do anything. You sit there and you breathe. And so it's like, it also feels efficient because it happens in 30 minutes. Like a passive aggression is taking hours. Not that I'm like saying don't go get a passive aggression, but I just like thought this was very efficient. And essentially she's using muscle testing, and she's asking your subconscious all of these questions about where you're harboring old emotions. Then she uses this chart. And once she finds an emotion that needs to be cleared, she asks for an age. For me, it's like, was she 5 to 10, 10 to 20, whatever, like finds an age. Okay. A lot of things for me happened at age 14, which is probably something that happened with you too, and 28. And then she's like, all right, we're clearing this. And then she takes a magnet and she clears it. She like moves it along her head, and she clears the emotion for me. And she got emotional for some of it. She started crying because she kind of sometimes feels the emotions, and I wasn't emotional, but she was emotional. I was like, are you okay? But it was such an interesting modality that I had never tried before. And I felt lighter the next couple of days after. Mind you, astrologically, there was a big shift. It was like around April 25th this year. There was a big shift around the same time. So it could have also been that. But we love feeling lighter, and we love just, even if it's not something that like you understand, because she was basically like, don't be a detective. You don't need to be a detective and figure out what those emotions were. We're just going to clear them for you. So I thought it was really cool. I'm going on tangents with you.
No, that's okay.
You're split. You're split on it.
Well, for someone like you who has spent years, after getting hit by a car and going inward, cultivating that self-awareness and working on yourself. And I'm not the arbiter of these things, but I'm more okay with someone like you going through that process, being like, all right, you have some stagnant or, emotions. Let's go clear that up.
Yeah.
Where I think I have a fundamental issue with it is someone who hasn't gone through the process of looking at that stuff. Because sometimes I think if you spend years on end looking at your shadow and doing the work, but there's still something that's stuck for one reason or another, it's like, okay, give you a helping hand. Like, that's time, bring them in, use the magnet, clear it out. I'm cool with that. Because if you haven't done that work, how does that aid in the cultivation of your self-awareness if you aren't aware of how to proceed forward? Because if you don't know what's being cleared out and you're not playing detective, then how does it shift? Or are you doomed to repeat history potentially?
Or are you feeling lighter after all of that release of all of these stored emotions that you've like, that you can then easily move on and easily be better without having to like go through and dive deep? I see what you're saying, but I think that there's like a secondary way to look at it, which is like, maybe people don't want to go back and like relive all their trauma and relive all the things that have happened. And like, let's give them an outlet that like will help them release something without having to deal with all of that crap. Like, why it doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you on that one. I guess it's also, look, I'm very stuck in the past, obviously, with a lot of these things and looking, because I think my cosmology on all this is just shaped by, if we don't look at the patterns of the past, then we're going to have to repeat them at some point until we learn from them. So do I think that you can move through life much lighter? Yeah, I think that would be great. And again, this is just my own personal belief. So have at it. Like, if you feel that that's right for you, go for it. Because just like you said, I want everyone to move through life feeling lighter. And I just wonder if it's like you're playing a video game and you're using cheat codes. You can still make it through the level, but you just didn't have to do the heavy lifting to do it. And if you don't have to go through the level of strategy that would be required to beat that level with the way it was designed, have you really grown? That's just my own feeling from it.
Or have you quantum leaped?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Okay. Fine, Laura. Maybe they have quantum leap. Maybe they did something back in the 8th century BCE that was setting it up for this time. So they already did the work in that, because time isn't linear. So that was just yesterday. But yeah, is it possible? Sure. I'm not going to say with absolute certainty that they don't have to do the work. What can I say? In my mind right now, reality is shaped by my perception. The way that I see things are the way that they are. So, you know what? Get the hell off my podcast. You're challenging me in a way that I don't like. Get off. Go do your woo thing. Have fun.
Remember, you said we were going to get in a fight today. You were like, you were
was that a
welcoming
fight?
In conflict.
I see that. That felt like a bit to me.
You get worked up. I love it. So good.
Did that really feel like I was getting worked up, though?
No, I'm kidding. I just want to give props to the person playing the video game that it's getting the cheat code. Like, that's okay too. If they made cheat codes in the video game, you're meant to find them. It's like you're meant to be able to quantum leap. Like, you don't have to, if you want to go strategize and go through all the struggles, go for it. You can also make the choice not to and like raise your vibe and just like pop your butt over to the end and have a fun day. Like, there's a couple ways to do it,
Look, both of us are speaking from a place of uncertainty right now. I think the only way we're going to know is, after we, we're kind of run over by our own car and leave for good. And then we look back and be like, oh, Laura was right. It's like, I bring this up from time to time on the podcast. I had a flat earth guy on a while ago And
Oh,
I
yeah.
just made this remark where, the only time I'll know for certainty is when I leave the body and I'm going up, up, up. Be like, oh, he was right. It is flat.
What did he say?
I couldn't even tell you. I don't remember. There was
Okay.
so much stuff thrown at me in that 3-hour conversation.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I
It's
bet.
fun though. But yeah, it's to each his own. No,
For
to
sure.
each his own. If you feel that's right for you, go for it. I mean, because
Mhm.
my mentality with all of this is, look, do I believe in rules? Yes. Do I believe that we should have traffic lights? Yeah, it just makes sense.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I don't think it matters how you get from point A to point B, as long as you're not lying, cheating, stealing, or hurting anyone else.
Mhm.
Why does it matter how you get from point A to point B?
So it sounds like you agree with me on the quantum leap.
Yeah,
Just-
I got at the end.
just say-
Yeah, because maybe I have the self-awareness to know that I may believe that I'm the center of my own universe, but I'm only kidding myself in that. But knowing that
Yeah.
I am shaped by beliefs and not a knowing. I don't know, because I believe that the best way to go about these things is to have an open mind. Be like, look, I may not think it's the best, but it's your life. You do you. By you going and doing this, you're not hurting me. At least I don't think you are.
Mhm.
I mean, put me at the center of my own universe on that one. And then it's like, well, is there going to be blowback on me? Well, then go do it. Go do the emotion codes. It's not going to hurt me. It's not going to hurt anyone else. Have at it. Like, that's just,
It could help me.
Yeah.
It could help me. And then it's like even the placebo effect of being like, oh, someone helped me clear these emotions from these times in my life.
Yeah.
Even that. And anyone working on their own healing, as we said before, is healing the world, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what I believe, because I believe it starts with the individual and it's the ripple effect that happens.
Mhm.
So, well, that was fun. And yeah, totally bit I was doing. I wasn't actually angry.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know.
So good.
It's fine. Have at it. You got hit by a car. You know more about the afterlife than I do, at least in this life. You're good. All I have is secondhand experience.
I don't know. You literally live in everybody's afterlife and past lives.
Yeah,
so.
but it's still at secondhand, though. You actually went
Yeah.
through the experience. I just hear people dying. That's neither here nor there. That's another conversation. Okay, really quick. We didn't get to this. In 1 minute, what's your view on past lives?
Well, it goes into my belief that we're all souls and that we're here right now in Earth School. So I believe that we die, we go back, we do our little life review, and then we come back and do it again. Whatever we didn't end up learning, whatever holes were still in our buckets, we come back in a different scenario to try and figure out how to fill our own holes in that bucket, how to figure out our cocoon until we got none left.
Well, then I'm out of a job. Cool. Are you ready to play the Saturn game?
What does that mean?
In this little baggie right here that you see, I have
Yeah.
4 periods of time.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, but as you see, I don't rig it. So I go in, I circle it up. You see, I'm not looking at it. I pull my hand out to see that I'm not marking one.
Okay.
Circle again, second time.
I trust your integrity.
Thank you. But it's still important to me that everyone knows that I'm not. Oh, I was supposed to pull it out that time. So, Laura, how have you grown in the last month?
How have I grown in the last month? What month are we in?
May.
We are in May. All right. Well, I have learned a lot about the person I am in the workplace because I'm kind of back into this new gig that I've been doing now for a couple months, but I feel like it's really starting to hit because, the first 3 months of any job, you don't know what you're doing, but like the 4th month, you're kind of like, you're in it. And I've learned that I'm back in this role now to correct some things that I could have done better, I think, before. Not just for others, but on how I show up and how I used to be in this hustle culture. And yes, 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 whatever you need to the man essentially at the job. And I'm realizing that I don't need to bring that energy to it. I can be way more relaxed about how I show up and I can have boundaries. And so, yeah, this past month, I've really been learning a lot about work-life balance in a new way. We're breaking the pattern. breaking the chains.
And all you have to do is get hit by a car.
All I had to do is be hit by a car. Hope you don't have to get hit by a car too.
I'll toast to that.
Yeah, me too.
So, where can everyone reach you? Or where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at The Woo Report. You can listen to The Woo Report wherever you listen to your podcasts. And yeah, I'll see you there.
Well, thank you for coming on for a great episode today. And
thanks, Daniel.
I'd like to have you back
So
in the
fun to
future if
hang.
you're okay with it.
Yeah, let's do it. Love an existential conversation with you.
That was child's play.
That was so fun.
Fellow time travelers, your journey through time awaits you. Just want to thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. And if you're interested in discovering who, when, and where you have been throughout time, and you'd like to book a session with me, just go ahead and send me a message on Instagram at The Past Life Regressionist, or you can reach me through my website, yourpastliferegressionist.com.